Call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Dr. Hemmond's here. Why don't we start with Dr. Hemmond?
He's first on my list too.
Yeah, get him going to superintendent comments. Dr. Hammond?
You want me to stay here, or do we need to?
Well, I gotta ask Mr. Castle if we can hear him. You hear Dr. Hammond if he sits there, or would you rather have him up here?
Why does he sit up front in the hot seat?
Yeah,
So the folks at home can hear you.
that's good.
Thank you, John.
First of all, good evening, thank you for taking the time, I appreciate it. I gotta head back to the central office, we have IDV contract negotiations with the teachers union, so I appreciate the time. I wanted to kind of give you an update of where we are on our budget. We, as you know, the state issued, the governor issued his budget, which had the minimum local contributions in the growth chapter 70. We only received a $32,000 increase in chapter 70. We are held harmless and actually given at $1.7 million more than we're entitled under the foundation aid. But many communities have been held harmless and not reducing the chapter 70. There was an increase of about $167,000 on the Templeton minimum local contribution, moving you up to your target share, and Phillipston about $25,000, moving them down. We also have put in more E&D, $200,000, and the bottom line is, at least on the past, is on the income, with the $377,999 would be the increase that we would look at. Income of $19,377,029. All of these numbers I've shared with Bob, so he knows what we, on the assessment, correct, Bob? You've got the numbers given you. On the budget side, and there's major changes in the budget this year, between 15 and 16, actually 14, 15, and 16, some changes. One of the obvious things is my coming as the interim, and John Jasinski, difference in salaries as interims and different salaries that we have to hire. Also, the teacher contract calls for a 1% increase on June 30th, goes into next year's when we have step raises. That's about $290,000 that we are increasing to meet those obligations. The bottom line is that we anticipate, or we've come up with, and which still needs work, is a budget of $20,001,768 compared to the $19,377,029, $640,000, 669 that we are short, and we are working on that now. Different way of looking at what we might have to reduce to get there. My point is that we are working hard with that. We have putting together, and I want to thank Diane, who serves on our budget subcommittee representative. We appreciate all the time that you come with us and trying to go over that, looking at that, what we need to do for our budget to come in. We realize that we need to come in so that we stay within the about 2.5 limits. We're very thankful that in the fall that the school passed, and very much thankful people for that, so we know responsibility to stay with that. If there's any assistance, we'd like to talk further, that you have any money coming in that we could talk about. We will be having to make some cuts, so we'll let you know that we're working on it. So there were numbers that we'll get there. We're really down to bare bones and staffing, especially at our elementary level, and class sizes are anywhere around 20, 22, 23. We don't want to go too much higher. One of the things on the class sizes that concerns us is that kids coming in, not school choice, but kids in other areas that schools might be closing, we might be receiving those students, they're residents of the town coming in to Templeton. So we have concerns there, so we're trying to watch our class sizes. So I want to let you know at least where we are, and if we can get together on anything, we greatly appreciate it. I don't want to just update you, but it might be a little painful. I don't know if Diane wants to comment since you've been working with us.
It's been fun. It's been an eye-opening experience, but you have to really, I think that we've all worked hard in talking about different ways to do things, and you can't always just take it from ground zero. But yeah, they've been a couple of really tense meetings in my opinion, but it's all been a great outcome and people are working really hard together.
We're putting it was requested and putting in a budget format together that taking FY 16 budget, rolling in what do we need in order to do level service, certain things are going up that we have to do, one is transportation, some other things that also you get retirement issues, payments to the state and so forth, and Worcester County going up. And then, so we have that number, and then what are people requesting, that's over the budget they don't have, and then we'll have a total, and we've done that comparison. And we'll have a sheet going on the sides, an Excel sheet explaining each one of those increases and decreases. We've had some decreases, we've had some increases, so, again, but the bottom line is where we are at this point. So I'm sure you're not, you have some issues too, so, but at least where the school district is. And I tried, Bob and I have been back and forth, so I think you have numbers that we are at this point, so.
Mrs. Triple, would you
Oh,
like to add?
she just came in, I didn't see her in the back there.
Yes, Mr. Columbus, do I have something to add? Yes, we are, the new format that's being worked on right now that Dr. Hammond just mentioned, where we look at what we have, what increases are going to happen in 17 based on contractual or fuel or some of these fixed costs, so that the school committee members can actually understand what we have, what we're going to have because of increases. We have requests from department heads, as you have. We are gonna then, once we see what money and what position we're in, we're gonna look at those and see if maybe some of those can be honored, maybe something else has to come out. So we're taking a different format with our budget, and it's hopefully going to lead to a greater understanding on all the committee's part, anybody who's participating in it, to understand what actually went up, where the money has to be. We no longer say, this is what we have, we need more. Okay, this is what we have, what is it? What maybe can we take from it to add to the next thing we have? And we're in the process of this, and we've done that kind of turnaround in the middle, so we've left Dr. Hemmond with quite a task, but it's gonna yield, I think, some real understanding. So at town floor, when someone says, what is in this budget, what isn't, people can actually answer for on the school committee. We'll have a great understanding of that. That's the goal.
One of the
Because-
things, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because we can't keep saying, this is what we have, now we need more every single year. We have to somehow let the towns know, so ahead of time, they would know what's coming up, and we could build onto that. So it's happening, has to happen by the end of the month. And,
End of March, not February, the end of March.
the end of March, okay, the end of March.
Right.
So I'm excited about that new process.
One of the things people ask is, if you see some increases or you see some decreases, what happens to that money? Any of you that work the budget know it all flows to the bottom line. That is, if something increases, nothing decreases, will just offset each other. And that's some people say, example, other things that take place, like 15 to 16, you took a look at the superintendent's salary was X, and then my salary's less, so what happened, that balances the bottom line budget when you do that, so. But those, I want people to know very clearly, if they take a look at the superintendent's salary is, they negotiated, Dr. Cassiman's salary is set, and mine was less than mine because I retired and I'm limited what I could earn, and the same with John Krasinski, so that's what the numbers is. So the superintendent didn't get this big increase, so it's just coming in, so as well as the high school principal, so there's a difference there, so people see that. We're glad to share all the documents, anything that people want to see.
Can I just add a couple of things? I think it's nice that you're here, and we're actually, we're talking about this now. I wanna say that in the meeting, Rayanne had brought up about maybe having these discussions earlier, and in the year, like not long after school starts, to really strategically plan some other things, instead of us coming now and saying, oh, like in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, we have to make a decision. That's really stressful, and that's why the meetings have been a little bit tense in a way, and that we're trying to do things a little bit differently. So it's a great process, but to try to bring it in at an earlier time frame and to have the town administrator even more involved than just now.
You can come to our meetings anytime.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, did that make sense, what I said?
It does. I think it's a strategic plan. Everybody talks strategic plan, but ours is ending in 16. What we need to do is to actually work on that plan that relates to budget items and percentage of increase. as to what we need so that the towns, as part of the regionals and the school committee, can understand what we will need in the next year and the year coming from it, and so will the employees.
I can
Right now,
suggest,
that's not
I can
the case.
suggest to Dr. Cassidy that the format we're using now, which was downloaded from our mainframe computer, from our computer, and into Excel, and then start with that, and then start building that as you go in September, things that you know you put in, what's it gonna be. Meanwhile, during the fall, October, November, people are, building their budgets, what do they need, and that can be
Right.
filled in, so you get a little consumer practices and see with that one. But there are, unfortunately, there are increases. One of the things is health insurance, has some increases that hit us up with. So that's one of the, and special ed. Now, actually, we had a decrease in one area of special ed, so that was surprising. So, and that's one of the things you can't control, especially not just replacement. I do want to say you have a school system that is working. Our kids come in, they're learning. We run a very good school, successful, and I'm always amazed at the number of people that are Narragansett graduates that come back, and the chairman is one of them. So they always go back, and throughout the town that I meet and say I'm a Narragansett graduate, and they're very proud to be a Narragansett graduate. So I'm glad to say I work here. And I was asked to come back. I could have been home having a beer right now, but I decided to come back. I was asked to come back, and I said I care very, very much about Narragansett, very close to my heart. So I was glad to do that for the year. My wife is glad it's going to end too. So I'm just happy to do it. And I think with Dr. Casamance coming in would be a very good choice. He's a very good choice. He has his contract has been signed, and we've been working, talking together quite a bit. So it'd be nice. Actually, I'll tell you, I got appointed in May of 2000. I had exactly 6 weeks, and this time he's going to arrive back in 4 months, which is really nice. So we're working together. So everything we decide now, he's going to deliver it. So especially bringing the school up.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hammond.
Thank you.
All right, we have 3 minutes until we have to have a public hearing, so if you got a few things you want to do.
I can run through a few things. I'll start at the bottom, since we were notified today that our application for a community compact grant has been accepted by the state. I sent you an email this afternoon. We're getting a $5,000 grant, which we can use for financial planning. And since some members of the school committee were here, I guess they're not, I was going to suggest that we had talked even before this grant about ramping up our budget process and improving our budget document to provide much more information to the elected boards as well as the public and the town meeting. We are in that process. It is a long and complicated process. The goal being to achieve what I mentioned to you is it's called the Excellence in Budgeting Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. Very prestigious. If you can get it, it's hard to get. Sometimes it takes a couple of years to gather the information and so forth, put it all together, and improve that document and make it understandable by the public, and obviously make it the central document of the town and the town government. Anyway, we're getting that $5,000 grant. I'm going to ask for assistance there. Some have asked, are you hiring anybody? No. No one's being hired, but since we have a $5,000 grant to hire expertise, the Regional Planning Commission has some people that they will bring in to help support the operation. And what occurs to me is that if there's any interest in the part of the school committee and the school department in participating in this effort, I think we could probably share. And since they're going to be initiating a long-term planning process, it might make sense for them as well. I think in the past, the town and the schools have been standalone operations in most cities and towns in Massachusetts, and I think that worked for a long time, but I think, those kinds of silos are gonna break down in the future, and there's no reason why, particularly since it's the largest single item in the town budget, that a planning process might not be useful for them as well. And if it's the wish of the board, I think we can make that offer if they would like to participate. It's about long-term financial planning that we need to do. We can obviously produce a budget, and we can improve the amount of information that's in our budget, and a lot has to be done still. But I think the long-term approach is also, it'll be useful for the town, enable the town to predict problems that we anticipate coming along in the future, you know, the so-called budget busters, and be able to take some action before they become big problems in the budget process. So I will extend that offer to the schools if they wish to participate. Plan to be in touch probably tomorrow with MRPC to see what kind of services they can offer to assist us. We are also in line for some support for regionalization of services. When you fill out those applications, I put down clearly financial management being the most important need at the time. But also, I think we already have regionalized our dispatch operations. We have regionalized our school system. We have regionalized animal control. Clearly, there are some savings when you do that, share services among surrounding communities. And so I'm anticipating that they're going to give us some help along those lines as well. Had a call today from the state office basically announcing the grant before she sent the email. And I asked her, you know, if you've got more money available, I think we could use some support there, and maybe we could mobilize surrounding communities just to sit down and talk about how we can share services and save taxpayer dollars.
I think we need to go on to the public hearing.
Public hearing, I'm sorry.
Do we have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. All right. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, it's unanimous. The public hearing is open for trailer permit for, Amisa Heaven?
Ahimsa.
Say it again?
Ahimsa Haven.
Ahimsa, I was close.
Yep, you are.
Okay, who was there from, okay, and you are?
Myself, I'm Nicole Roberts.
Okay,
Here's Ed Poulin.
okay. And your affiliation with the organization is?
President of the board.
And
Vice President.
and Vice President. And what is it you want to do on the site there?
Mr. Harris has so generously donated a mobile unit from his site on Baldwinville Road. And we are looking to move that unit and have it as part of the Templeton shelter. Separate in itself, it's not going to be attached to the building at all. And the main purpose of the unit would be to house unvaccinated cats. There'll be no dogs residing in the facility, but just cats. And the main purpose is to be able to help more animals, whether they be owner surrenders, strays, or animals from other means, before they're vaccinated. It will be a holding facility, if you will. So we're not mixing vaccinated cats with unvaccinated cats until they're ready for adoption for the public.
Okay. And how many cats are we talking about?
Well, currently, right now, we can have up to 15 in the shelter.
Yeah.
And the trailer will probably hold another 15 cats or so.
At least.
At least.
Yeah. And the trailer now is going to, obviously have heat, electricity, running water?
Heat, electricity, and it will have some means of water. We're not quite sure how we're gonna hook that up, whether it's going to be one of the self-contained units that will be inside, but it will have heat and electricity.
Okay. And this is gonna be located on your property behind the highway barn?
Yes, it is going to be to the front, right of the property, right along the wood line.
It's town property
Yeah.
Yes.
that they release for.
Yes.
Um, Anyone have any questions or comments on the board?
Yeah, has this, Has the building inspector been there? Have you spoken to, I just not really clear on the process.
I believe
So if
Marjorie,
we say yes to this, then what are the steps that have to be?
we have met with the building inspector, Marjorie has spoken with him, we did have a meeting probably, I'm gonna say a couple months ago. And we went through the proper channels of putting in the paper, so on and so forth, notifying the abutters. And now, this is the last step in the process, just to get your okay in order to move it to the site.
They've also gone through the planning board, they had a hearing
Okay.
as well. It's just a formality, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure once we
Sorry.
get to the property too, we're gonna have to, you know,
Wasn't
we'll
really
probably
up on all
have
this.
the, probably have the building inspector come out again and, you know, cause we need means to, you know, secure it and so on and so forth, so.
Are there any other permits they need to do this? Howard?
No, this is the final one, and I did put in the permit that it's gonna be attached to their lease.
Okay.
And if, you know, they should never stop using the trailer, they would need to remove it.
Yes.
And all that's in there.
All right. Anyone else have any questions, comments?
They've also been to the ZBA board and we've allowed them a closer line variance, so
That was one
should be
concern.
plenty of room for it.
Yeah. I see we have the Board of Health agent here. Do you have anything that you would like to?
They've actually been through the process, going right through planning and everything, so they're actually okay,
All right.
so.
Are there any objections to the board issuing this permit? Okay. I don't hear none. Does anyone else have any questions or comments before we put it to a vote? All right. Okay. We will have a motion to post a public hearing, seeing how there's no more, no one else wishes to comment?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, that's unanimous, the hearing is closed. Do we have a motion on the issue before us?
I make a motion to grant the trailer permit to Ahimsa Haven Animal Rescue located at 381 Baldwinville Road, Templeton.
I'll second that.
Do that. Anyone else, questions, comments? Hearing none, Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I will vote yes, that's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
That was quick and painless, huh?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Bob, let's go back to where we were on
Next time, we have a complete streets opportunity. Highway superintendent reported me this morning that he's been told that our projects, which we have proposed on Hubbardston Road and South Road, may be eligible for the governor's new initiative, which is called Complete Streets. Essentially, it means more than just repaving, but it means a bike lane perhaps, or perhaps a sidewalk. So, we're not sure we can get monies from this program, but there's no harm in trying. So maybe Bud could tell you more. He had the conversation.
Hi, good evening. I met with some engineers that are proposing the Templeton Elementary School. And we were talking about Wellington Road and South Road in particular, and trying to work out some final details. And through this discussion, we had talked about the opportunity to use the program called Complete Streets, which is state funded. There's monies out there to do improvements, and in this, basically it's still in the draft and talk stage, but I had brought it up to Bob, and I have attended one of the Complete Street programs, 101. 102 will come out in the springtime, and this is a perfect opportunity for the town to take advantage of this Complete Streets. And what this kind of really involves is sidewalks and bike paths. And talking with these engineers, they were gonna look into it and discuss it with Mass DOT and typically get their opinion on it. Called me this morning, and he wants to meet with some officials here in the near future and the consultant to discuss options of what the town would really like to do with Wellington Road. It was kind of planned to put some sidewalks in, being an elementary school, and they're gonna be drop-off and pickups on both Wellington Road and South Road when this project moves forward. And since it's all in the planning stages right now with the school and whatnot, it's a perfect time to plan this and see if that we can be eligible for some state funding to put in some sidewalks. What was discussed was a sidewalk traveling north on Wellington Road up to the intersection of South Road. The sidewalk would be constructed ADA compliant with granite face, so that typically protects the sidewalk against plow hits and vehicles driving on it and whatnot. In my opinion, it's a great opportunity to see if we can move forward and get some type of state funding. There's quite a chunk of money out there. A lot of the towns and communities are taking advantage of this. At this time, it's really the only spot in town that I feel that would be eligible for complete streets. So, looking to move forward in discussion only, gather some more information to see if we can get some type of financial backing on this.
Well, just given the number of, the increase in the number of vehicles we're going to have there, and also the number of pedestrians that are gonna be in the area, it kind of makes sense to look at doing something there in terms of sidewalks.
Well, it would be the perfect opportunity right up there in Templeton Common. Not only does it, with sidewalks, service the school, but it would service the residents in that tightly knit area. You have the country store and some other shops are in there. I think it may be a good.
Well, the other issue, if the money's there now, we really should pursue it, because, you know how that is. Next year it might not be there.
Well, there are some steps to move that the board would need to take some votes on. And Bob has some of the information that, the selectmen have to vote to accept complete streets in our community before we can even put in an application. So there are some steps that are coming up that, regardless of whether it happens on Wellington and South Road, it's something for our future.
So we will look into that and,
Next meeting, we'll have
see
some
what we have to
information,
do,
things for you to.
what hoops we have to jump through.
Not a big,
Yeah.
not a lot of bureaucracy involved. You have to give your approval prior to the town initiating an application.
So I think we're all in agreement on looking at it.
Can I ask a question? Does that involve, are you talking a sidewalk going all the way up Wellington and around?
Now, that's what was typically kind of planned right now. So in the event that there are some elementary students that are, walking to school, currently right now Wellington Road doesn't have a sidewalk, and where it's gonna be redesigned so that it's gonna be a one vehicle travel lane. We have plenty of town property to put a sidewalk in according to the survey, as they indicated to me. They surveyed that area. So we have the property, and it's something that could happen if the selectmen wanna pursue it.
I guess my only concern would be at the top, where you have to come around. And I believe that's Sonia White's property.
On the south side, going up there?
Yeah, where would this, if the road's already narrow and I know it's gonna be one way, that was it's just a normal question. That's all.
Well, I think it's, at this point, I think.
I'm just asking.
We're looking at the program.
Mhm.
We'll get into those specifics later.
It's still in design right now. They're still looking at, redesigning the intersection of South Road and Wellington Road where it meets. And then, of course, if this did happen, well, obviously a crosswalk would be put in. From that point, there's no crosswalks going south on South Road, so it's really just gonna take care of the loop. And for any future, when they have parents' night and people need to park on the street, at least they can use the sidewalk instead of walking down the road. Something to look at.
All right, so we're going to see complete streets on the next meeting agenda, is
Yes,
that correct?
put it on there, yes.
Okay.
And as Bud said, there was already a Complete Streets 101 training, and DOT is going to have 102 this spring. So
And there's already some paperwork that we can look at? Or, no, it's just,
It's still in
Yeah,
the
well-
design phase, so it's.
no, just about this program?
About the program,
Oh,
yes,
about the
we'll have it
program.
Yeah,
on the
just-
agenda next time with
Okay.
more information. We just wanted to brief you tonight that this.
It's on the internet if you wanna just type in Complete Streets
Okay.
101, there's a whole section.
Okay. Our flexible spending account program is underway. This is a program authorized by IRS Code Section 125 that allows all employees to set aside monies prior to taxation or before taxation. Maybe it's better to say without taxation, for incidental medical expenses. I understand that there were some departments where the notice of the meeting didn't reach, but we're gonna try and remedy that and make sure that all employees are given this opportunity. It's the closest thing to a free lunch you're gonna find. You set aside an amount of money from your paycheck before you pay taxes, and then you can use those funds to cover co-pays at a doctor's office or eyeglasses or a variety of items that are on the list. So we're underway. We had, as you know, I'll be briefing you later on a highway and police labor issues. Both are resolved, and I'll give you the details on that later. We did a tour of Scout Hall recently, and just to size up the building itself, what the need would be to either improve the building where it is as an ancillary building for the town, or perhaps to relocate it. So tonight we're going to create a committee to look at reuse of Scout Hall. And later on, actually, we have information that the board has to make some decisions on a special town meeting for the water department and a borrowing that they would like to initiate. Lastly, point out that the abandoned house initiative is moving forward, and we're looking for some good results. Lori Witta, our health agent, has been spearheading this effort, and with some others, town officials, and what we're trying to do is to use this program initiated by the Attorney General to find a way to get abandoned houses in the town, which number about 80, back up to code and reoccupied. So I get periodic reports from Laurie. Anything to report?
The only new thing I have to report is 39 Cottage Lane, the bank has actually taken it over and they're cleaning it up. So they're gonna turn it around for sale, so.
That's all I have for now. Budget obviously is the big item coming later. Sure.
Okay. We have the minutes of February 10th, should be in front of you.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of Wednesday, February 10th as written.
I'll second that.
Second. Any comment, discussion? Hearing none. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
And I will vote yes, that's unanimous. Action on creating a Scout Hall Use Committee. I think that several issues or suggestions have been brought forward, and I think that what we really need to do in terms of, if we're gonna be using or making some significant decisions, it's gonna have to go to town meeting, and I think we need to have a committee that would bring forth a report and look at the issues and perhaps give the town meeting some guidance on where they wanna go. Particularly wanna thank Julie Richards, has done an outstanding job being she's been the one that's kind of spearheaded this and gotten it moving, so thank you. I think first what we have to do, let's vote to create a committee, and we have a list of appointees, potential appointees in front of you. Why don't we vote to create the committee, and then we can discuss the appointments.
I make a motion to create a Scout Hall reuse committee.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I vote yes, that's unanimous. Now, we have several appointments before us, including the Scout Hall Reuse Committee, which would serve until June 30th of 2016, and perhaps be reappointed at that time, depending on the status of the project. We have Steve Castle, who's with us here from the Cable Commission. We have Julie, Officer Brian Rosengren, John Kaplis, our Veterans Director, and Harry Aldridge from the Historical Society. You wish to take an action, make a motion on appointing those people?
So moved, for a one-year appointment ending on June 30th, 2016.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie? I vote yes, that's 3 in favor, 1 abstention. We have 3 other appointments here before us. Noah Castle for the Cultural Commission, David Simons for the Conservation Commission, and Richard Deegan for the Cable Committee. Cultural Commission, Noah Castle is a 3-year appointment to expire June 30th, 2018. Is Mr. Castle here? Anybody from the Cultural Commission here?
John, I can explain this one. We
Okay.
appointed him last meeting for 1 year,
Yeah,
and then after I got back to my desk, realized it was supposed to be a 3-year appointment. That was my mistake.
okay.
So we just need to revote, so he's
So that
appointed
as
for the
a
whole 3
3-year
years.
appointment, okay.
Yeah.
So can we have a motion to appoint Noah Castle to a term expiring June 30th, 2018?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes. That's unanimous. David Simons, Conservation Commission, 3 years? Anyone here from the Conservation Commission?
He's not. That was another communication error. He was supposed to be appointed back in June
Mm-hmm.
for 3 years, and it slipped through the cracks. So we need to appoint him for the 3 years. We did speak with him. He does want to do it.
Okay,
So moved.
okay, we have a motion to appoint David Simons to the Conservation Commission to a term expiring June 30th, 2018. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that's unanimous. Richard Deegan to the Cable Committee?
That's a new one that wants to help out with the cable committee. Steve, did you want to talk about
I
that?
can speak to that if you like.
I don't think Mr. Deagon could join us. He's busy with his job at the cable station he works on in Acton. But he approached us with a desire to be on the committee. He's a Templeton resident, has been for a couple of years, and he has, I think, 17 years' experience, something like that, in helping to run these public access stations. And we can certainly use his help and some of his technical expertise, especially, I think, with our control system and getting the most out of it. And he's eager to learn the system that Sean's working with right now, and we're going to learn really how to use that and how to get the most out of it too. So I think it'd be a great help, especially if we move forward under a new license and we want to do a lot more things.
All right. We have a motion to appoint Mr. Deegan to the Cable Commission.
For a one-year term expiring June 30th, 2016. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
So that takes care of all the appointments, correct?
Yes.
All right, the next order of business is action on licenses. And for this item, I am going to recuse myself. So Diane, you have the chair.
Diane, this is just one of them, it's for Thirsty Turtle. We had voted a temporary license, but they had some things they had to do with the building inspector. And so it's for the liquor license and all the accompanying licenses through December 31. They're now in compliance.
Yeah, I think that was on my list to ask you about like where we stood with those. So this wasn't the only one though
No,
that we did.
there were two others in there, in the process.
Okay, so this one's, okay. Okay, so this is a common parlor license for the Thirsty Turtle, doing business as the Thirsty Turtle Pub at 15 Central Street, Baldwinville. Operating as a lounge with a bar, game room, kitchen, cellar, and storage, 2 entrances, exits, and 1 emergency exit. Expiring at the end of this year. They also have an automatic amusement device license. And the common repertoire. And that's it. We have a motion?
I would make a motion that we grant these licenses to the Thirsty Turtle.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none? There would, yeah. Julie seconded, sorry. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So we need to sign, okay. So, did John come back in now?
Yeah, there was just one.
Oh, okay. Good.
So we're all set there. This is-
Yes.
Crow Hill Motor, renewal of license, anybody here?
Yes, I'm Attorney Joseph Meiser, I'm the attorney for the track. Mr. and Mrs. Marshall, and the owners of the track, they're here as well. I did bring some documentation that was requested, I assume you probably want that first. I have a check for $500. What would you like me to do with all this?
I'll take it.
Check for $500 is the revenue enforcement REAP attestation that all the taxes have been paid. Is the certificate of insurance from last year, and the paid invoice showing that it was paid. I know there was I had some communication with Polly. She wanted the town of Templeton, or someone wanted the town of Templeton listed as a certificate holder, which we will do with this year's insurance. It's being processed approximately six weeks before we have that. The track don't open until April, obviously, with the weather, so when they receive that, we'll make sure that the town of Templeton is listed as a certificate holder and get that to the town as well. There's a schedule of the racing events for 2016, and I'm pretty sure that was all that was requested. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them. I know it looks like we've got some new faces on the board. I don't know if anybody wants me to talk at all about the track and the history and what it's done, and I'd be happy to speak about that. And if there's anything I can't answer, the marshals would be happy to answer questions as well.
All right, for the benefit of the public, how many events do you do in a typical year?
9.
9 events?
I don't know if you listed 9, did you list 9? On that?
And those occur from when to when, roughly?
Well, pros and ground,
Okay.
But the dates are on there, I think we're missing a couple because they weren't sanctioned, but we'd like to always leave that open, and so we have to notify you or something at a later date, if there's some benefit, somebody gets hurt, or we wanted to have something, but we're still licensed for 9, just because we're probably only put 10, only 7 on there, we'd like that to not change, you know, be able to add an event in if it's necessary.
And this being a track permit, what do you ride on the track?
Motorcycles.
Motorcycle?
Well, it's recreation vehicles, it could be snowmobiles, could be, you know, four-wheelers, but it seems it's motorcycles, that's really what we do. We did four-wheelers for a period of time. It's snowmobiles, it's never really taken off or done anything with it.
And the track is where? Where's it located?
In Crow Hill, at the base of Crow Hill, right behind the landfill,
Okay.
you know, the old landfill.
Right.
Down that road, down the road there.
Does anyone have any questions of the marshals or Mr. Meeker?
No, I don't see a list of events in there.
Oh, he just brought it tonight. Did you wanna look
Could I
at it?
just take,
Sure, this is the whole packet. I just wanted to mention that I did contact, the planning board, conservation, board of health, and police department, and the highway superintendent, is what we're supposed to do, and they're all fine with it.
Okay.
Would be any question.
Yeah.
Chief is all set.
Yes.
I was gonna give the chief a chance. Chief, you wanna add anything, seeing how you're here?
Nah, we've had little to no issues with the track since it's open. Very good working relationship with them.
All right. And, see, Board of Health, we're good?
They're always good, they get their food permits on time, inspections are done. That'll be coming up soon, when they open, and it's not mushy.
All right, everybody, Mr. Chase, you?
list of events?
I have no issues. I think the marshals have done a wonderful job down there. And I would encourage the Board of Selectmen to attend one of their events to see their operation, how clean it is, how well it's run, how it's organized. I was amazed the first time I went down there and actually saw it. It's unbelievable for Templeton. It's quite the thing to see.
All right, so, Mr. Meeker, we're in compliance with all of these site assignment,
Yes.
okay. Anyone else have any questions?
I make a
don't hear
motion
any.
to approve the recreation track permit for Crow Hill Motorsports Park for a 1-year period ending December 31st, 2016.
And I will second that.
All right, so moved and seconded. Any further, I should, excuse me, my bad manners, I should have. Do you have anything else you'd like us to consider before we vote?
No, everything's good.
Okay. All right, Diane,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that's unanimous. We're done.
Thanks very much.
Thank you guys, keep up the good work. Stay safe.
I'll mail that out.
Action, special town meeting?
Oh, yeah, I got dates for that. The 21st, March 21st and March 23rd is a Monday and a Wednesday. And the town clerk contacted the moderator, and those are the dates he's available as well, and the school's available. So if you wanna choose from one of those dates, that would work for everyone. And I also wanted to ask if we could extend the closing of the warrant. It's generally my job to get the notice out to everyone that it's open. And I just did not have a chance to do that until today, so I wanted to ask if we could extend it a week, which we'll have plenty of time.
Extend what now?
The closing of the warrant, we had it for February 24th at 5.
Yeah.
We could extend it a week to March 2nd, just to give everyone plenty of time to get everything in.
It's up to the board.
No, I don't have a problem with that. So the 21st is a Monday and the
23rd is a Wednesday.
23rd is a Wednesday, so
I'm good with the 21st.
you want, did you say Monday?
Do we have a
No, we do
scheduled meeting that?
No, because it's the 2nd and the 4th, so
Okay.
that would be the 14th or the
Right.
28th, so that part's not a problem. So, I make a motion to extend the warrant from February 24th at 5 o'clock to March 2nd at 5 o'clock.
Second.
All right, it's moved and seconded to extend the
Did I
closing
not
of the
say
warrant.
that
No, you're fine, I
Oh.
just, we may have a second article to correct some language as requested by the bond council. Town went out to borrow on the $550,000 authorization for the schematic and design for the elementary school. And bond council has sent a message that the language which was used for that, namely, quote, "to meet this appropriation, the Narragansett Regional School District, with the approval of the Templeton Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow." That's the language in the article. Bond council says, to make this perfectly legal, we need to revise the language to read, "to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, is authorized to borrow." Now,
Really?
I'm a little bit speechless about that, but nevertheless, I know that the regional school district did actually do borrowing. And the assumption, I believe, at the time was that they were going to do the borrowing, just as they did the borrowing for the bonds for the regional school system. Bond council has to earn their keep, and they want us to change that language. So I'll have that article for you to review at the next meeting, but just the language changed, there are no other complications.
Okay, so did we,
I made a motion.
you made a motion to extend to?
Yeah, to
March
extend
2nd?
the warrant. I don't
And-
know if it was seconded.
Doug's, I
It did
believe,
second.
Okay,
seconded.
thank you.
Okay, anything else? Hearing none. Diane?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that's unanimous. Templeton Water, you
Nope,
are,
I make a motion to have the special town meeting on March 21st at 7 PM in the Safka Auditorium at the Narragansett Middle School. Is that right? Right.
I'll second that.
all right, so we have a motion to set the town meeting for March 21st. Diane?
Yes, did you get all that, Holly?
I think so. I'll listen to the tape after.
Okay.
Diane voted yes. Doug?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
I will vote yes, that's unanimous.
And we have some other information sent over by the department for the Board of Selectmen. Holly said she gave out copies, but I think she only gave out 2 copies.
Information on
Oh, sorry,
Relative
for the
to-
next item.
the
Special.
next item. Anyone wanna come up?
Sure.
For the,
Fitness in?
for the folks at home, please tell us who you are.
John Driscoll, manager of Templeton Light and Water.
Ron Daffy, water superintendent of town Templeton.
All right. So, now that we know who you are, you can tell us why you're here.
Excuse me, about employee back and forth. In the late nineties, 1996, 1997, we had a SAG, I was not even here then. The town was under the Board of Selectmen at that time, it was a different financial structure. We were instructed by the DEP that we had to repaint the inside of a water storage tank up on Johnson Ave. Everyone calls it Ladder Hill, I call it Johnson Ave, but same tank, 500,000 gallon tank. We had to paint the inside of it, possibly even the outside of it. At the time, it was about a $200,000 job, maybe a little more. Seemed like a lot for a paint job, but these paint jobs, it's part of a regulatory thing with the DEP. You can get notices of non-compliance if you don't paint it every 15 years. So that was 15 years ago. 2011, 2012, we started getting letters, not NONs, but letters from the DEP saying it's time to paint the tank again. So 15 years had elapsed, we started getting some estimates back from Time and Bond, who handles all of our water consulting. And it was about $550,000 to paint the inside of a water tank, which I'm still mystified by as far as the amount of, I don't know if you call it engineering.
Is there
planning.
gold in that paint?
I don't know. I know it's not like painting a house, I understand that. The tank is empty when it gets done, so that's something we would do. We would empty the tank in advance slowly, safely, so. It's not so much the cost of the paint job that turned off the water commission and myself, it was the fact that at the time, the assumption was we couldn't go out for a general obligation bond because the town had no, bond rating. So we said, well, you know, we borrowed USDA money before back in '07, '08, let's try that again. When my board found out we were looking at a minimum of a 20-year loan term, they said, well, there's no way they're gonna authorize the water department to borrow money to pay back for 20 years to do a paint job that's gonna last 15, just doesn't make any sense. So after several years of time bond, we changed the direction of the meeting to listen, the tank is almost 55 years old. Do we just build another one? It's 500,000 gallons, it's closest to the Sawyer Street treatment plant, which at any given time is feeding about 60% of our water customers. So it's an important piece of the distribution system, obviously, for fire protection, for storage and everything else. So we had them gear their analysis toward replacement, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here tonight. We're looking at about $1.2 million to replace the tank. Now I understand a little bit more why there is engineering and design involved, planning and whatnot. You know, the issue is not so much the money. We've actually already raised the water rates several times since we've taken over, probably about 300% since 2001. Anyway, we did raise them about 9%. I'm thinking about 2 or 3, not even 2 months ago, to do this. This is the water department. There's no money in reserve. Anytime we need to do something like this, it's always going to come from water rates. We had time bond do a rate study and a capital improvement study about 2.5 years ago now. So we're here tonight because, much like the light department, because of the structure with the state government and whatnot, we cannot borrow money, just like the light department can't. So the water department cannot borrow money either. When we did the previous USDA loan, it was a town vote. So that's why we're here. I didn't even know if the town had any business they needed to attend to this time around on a special meeting warrant. So we've already offered to pay, the water department's offered to pay the costs of the meeting, even if we were not the only item on there, just because it's an unbelievable inconvenience to throw one together just because we need to have a formal town vote to borrow some money. There's a couple of other votes here. The most important vote would be accepting the article language. Our legal counsel drafted that out of Holyoke, out of Ferrier Law. I don't know if town council had a chance to look at it, but it's pretty, based on what I've seen, it's pretty cut and dry. It really didn't change much from the original language.